When it comes to looking after the blade of your knife, most of our knives are scandigrind, and I recommend sharpening the knives on a regular basis. You can use lots of different systems, but I typically recommend using a flat diamond sharpener, small one that can fit in your pocket. You can bring out in the field with you, and you can sharpen as and when you need it. Just quickly, how to sharpen a knife with a scandigrind. What you do is you place the knife on the sharpener and tilt the bevel onto the sharpener. Working with repetitive motions, going back and forth in an individual area, about 10 to 20 strokes or so. Just making sure that you keep that contact with the whole flat bevel of the scandigrind. And then you can move the knife along, maybe half a centimetre or a centimetre, depending on how much need there is to sharpen a knife, how blunt it is, or how much care is needed. And then you carry on in the same way. And then you work your way forward gradually towards the curve. When you come to the curve, you have to take smaller steps just to ensure that there's contact with the surface as you go through the curve. I'm doing this a little bit quicker than you should really, but it's just to ensure that you're not entirely bored watching me sharpen this. And then on the other side, you place it on the other bevel. Use your index finger to maintain contact with the sharpener, and in the same way use repetitive motion back and forth and gradually move along the bevel as well as the curve and all the way out to the point. And when you're by the point, that's a place where you need to be a little bit more careful to avoid rounding off the tip. So typically I recommend slowing down a little bit there, just to make sure that you're getting the right angle. Now when you've gone through the steps, then I typically increase the angle a little bit. So I find the angle and then increase it a little bit and then do light strokes. Just to take off the burr and to produce a tiny little micro bevel right by the edge there. Very, very light strokes. And sometimes that process is going to be all that's needed really to get a nice edge. And there's various ways of checking whether you've got a good result from your sharpening. I like to just use a nail. This is something that is not recommended if you're not used to handling knives and you feel a little bit unconfident about doing this, but it's something that instantly is going to give me a sense of whether there's any kind of damage on the edge there. You can also use a piece of paper or a small piece of plastic or something like that and just hold it in the hand and run it over the edge, and you can feel whether there's any kind of damage to the blade at all. So there's various ways there, but the ultimate test of course is just using it and seeing whether you're satisfied with it. Now if you want to go a little bit further with your sharpening, I recommend also using a strop. This is by no means a necessary step. You're going to have a perfectly okay edge just from sharpening with a fine diamond sharpener. But if you use some kind of strop, this is a field strop that I've just made myself, and you can apply some kind of polishing paste to the strop surface. The strop surface should be made from leather, and you can put a polishing paste on there. You run the edge backwards across the leather. This is a process that polishes the edge and refines it. You're not really taking material away doing this process, but it's going to straighten out and polish the edge and make it better. And done in the right way, this is something that can be done immediately after use if you want to maintain the edge smooth. A lot of wood carvers strop their knives on a regular basis instead of sharpening them, so that's something that you can do for a while and then eventually you'll need to sharpen the knife again. When it comes to looking after the blade of your knife, apart from sharpening, it's good to think about rust proofing your knife, in particular if it's made from one of our carbon based steels, so the K720 or the Uddeholm Sleipner steel. These steels are more susceptible to rusting, and therefore after using them, particularly when storing them in a humid environment or just in general to protect them when you're going outdoors, apply some kind of oil to the blade. WD-40 is fine to use. That's a typical product for rust proofing steel. However, if you're going to use it for food prep, you might want something a little bit more food safe. There are products, specialized products on the market like Camiglia oil, which is fine to use, but I would recommend just using ordinary olive oil. Other types of food oil like rapeseed oil or sunflower oil is not recommended because they can typically go a little bit rancid quicker and get all mushy and gooey on your knife. But olive oil typically lasts for a longer time, so that's something that is simple to use that most people can access very easily.